Oh, thank you for the two people who aren't at the tally talk. Tarek's there, Derek's there, we'll have to enjoy that, and I think maybe the one we should do is have them get a report. Yeah, we can talk. Yes, because he now has a new job. So, welcome. We need to approve the minutes from last time, as we looked at, do I have a motion, everyone was right down? Okay. Second, and then. All in favor? We second, yeah. Aye. Okay. Very good. Thank you for doing this. So we have a couple of reports. This will probably be a pretty quick meeting, guys. We handed in the tree list for the ordinances. So I don't know if everybody knows that the idea was, I think so, to completely write a new tree list and reorganize it. That was my idea. It is organized in a way that nobody else's tree lists are organized, with a lot of columns for whether it's a bribeberry buffer tree or a shade tree, street tree, or whatever. It was a gargantuan amount of a lot of input, and the gargantuan, whether it's a gold star, all the inputting and the formatting. Imagine the formatting that just took. So it got handed in to the engineer, and I imagine it's going to the ordinances. It's what it already said, it's just fixed stuff. And also the lights out recommendation for residents for turning your lights out at 11 or else dimming them for bird vibration, or even timers, as long as, and things that just aren't like shooting up into the sky. Do you want to say anything more about that?
No, well, the bird migration officially started yesterday. And it'll run through May 31st. So, you know, the point is at 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't need a spotlight shining up into the sky. Shielded lights are great. Amber colored lights are better for the birds. And even at that time of night, if you have something on a timer, you know, that's great because it'll turn off. And then if there's motion, it'll come back on.
Mm-hmm. And it's the more people understand the difference between no light and reasonable light, whether it's downward or timers or dimmers or things like that, the easier it will be for this to kind of take hold. So the status of the garden projects, you know, we got the Bowman's Hill grant. Lucy and I are picking the plants up on April 11th.
Okay.
That's the day they gave us. And yeah, I gave them the 2 dates and said the other one was the one I really wanted, and they gave me the 11th and some that. I guess everybody like a later date. And you know, when we're going to plant this garden is going to be a question. We have to get the plants from our gardens, right? A lot of us said they'll donate plants. I don't know just what you did. You weren't quite coming to the meetings all the time when we were talking about.
I did offer to donate, and I will either draw in my garden or help.
But most of us are just taking, you know, so like Susan has 10,000 babies and.
Right, well, that's what I think. I mentioned rattlesnake monster in
Yes.
the stress, so rattlesnake monster, if it all pops, I'd be happy to pull some of those, the interest is negative.
So I think sometimes I would probably be asking each other, hey, how's it looking? And then figure it out. Yeah, I'm so missing people in full sun. It's just.
Okay, so one other option, I have a bit of an overhang that we can put fencing around it. Here off, that's a possibility, that would be shade, sounds good. Let me check with Larry about that.
Well, I have a quote, somebody I was talking to too, nobody here knows who Ed is, I guess. You probably know Ed Hockey.
I know.
Right, you know Ed. So I said, you can just set it in the corner of your garden, like our vegetable garden is all fenced in. The corner doesn't get used because we basically have it walking. Put them on the boards, kind of air proof. don't put them on dirt, because it doesn't go in.
Okay, yeah,
So if a couple of us want to split them up and take them that way, well, that's just the thing.
when are they going to put in?
April 11th. I know, that's early. I think they want to get them out of the way because then they have their own great big plant sale. It's, you know. So they have to get these out of the way. Okay, so we'll figure out
That was like 100 plants. right?
100 plants, right? And we made the list that they did not say whether they're doing this exactly what we asked for. Their communication was very skimpy. I was waiting to hear about the grant. Just on the verge of asking second time. Do you have any news? And I get, not, well, guess what, about the grant, I get a message, would you please fill out the form for picking up the plants? It's like, okay. Yeah, so whether we're getting, they will get mostly what we asked for, I'm sure. So let's just keep our thinking caps on about when we think we're gonna plant the garden. I'm hoping we can just do it some early evening, because the weekends in May are nuts. Like double booked all over the place. So. And then I think everybody already knows that planting the bank in front of the township building isn't gonna happen. And I don't know if it will ever happen, because in all honesty, okay, they will or they won't change the building, and even minor reconstruction on the building would probably be dangerous to the plants, but I don't see that the township is looking at maintaining it. And I just think there has to be you can tell me if you think otherwise, but that's a lot. We're doing a lot. We're doing other plantings. That's a big maintenance job. So we'll revisit it.
I think revisit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
I
revisit.
mean, they've got to maintain something. But maybe not quite the nuance of some of the planting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you'd rather do a few things well on it. No.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. It will be years before the building, whatever is happening to it, happens and is finished. So there's a lot that can happen.
It looks good right now with the daffodils. Doesn't it?
Does anything come up when the daffodils go down? I don't think so. I think they just
Well,
put
there's
it-
something along the walkway on the right hand side that we saw splatted down and we thought something's gonna come up.
I think they're
I
really,
took pictures of the daffodils so we remember.
that's a good
I have
idea.
a couple of pictures of them, so we remember where they are, because they look really good.
They do. But when they're gone, it'll be back to, you know,
Mulch.
well,
Hopefully.
I think they stick it, well, they can't be, it's because there's 3 inches of mulch and long fabric and.
You know, I reached out to the veterans about their area, right before their meeting through, who sits here? Bridget. Right. Hadn't heard back if they had their meeting, if they wanted
If you gave them this,
some ideas of some natives to put there, and the veterans area is right behind by the police station, right down the hill here.
in the back.
And they planted it last year, and then it was dry, and some of the plants got eaten, so I suggested some natives for this year, so. Red and red, white, and blue kind of ish, with thought, so.
Yeah. And the more
Maybe
deer
those,
resistant.
yeah, more deer resistant ones, the other plants can.
Yeah.
So, okay,
And so,
yeah, I haven't heard back from them, but maybe they did.
Yeah.
Might, maybe. Okay,
yeah,
So
Did-
I can,
yeah,
I think you, you didn't go to the live meeting.
okay,
Yeah, because in their meeting, and they meet in the middle, like,
okay, and I couldn't go to the meeting,
yeah,
so,
you couldn't get a live.
Okay. yeah, I had given a list of some plant ideas that I thought would be
I think
good.
they probably would be open to it, because I think that would, they they really wanted to clean it up, because it was such a mess. So I think if they're more sustainable, like, because kind of,
Yeah,
you know,
back next year.
yeah, if they don't, if they don't have, you know,
Mhm.
lower maintenance, right, you can have something.
Yeah, and we'll need less water too after
Yeah.
the first year.
Yeah, and they have such deep roots that, and the Amsonia really will hold a space. Yeah, that's great. ADA preparations. Anybody else want to cover a block? It would be appreciated. We have a long way to go here.
That's the end of April, right?
It is April 25th, 26th, and 27th.
That's a tough one, but my things can say.
Which is, no, you know what this year? It's like it would fill in. So let me see.
Sunday's the ocean. Oh, no, no, it's Sunday, I hate.
Let me see what else I have. I'm hoping for more people.
Okay, I'm gonna just send you everything.
August or.
I
Oh, yeah, I know they. Okay. Good. Because you and Jerry said you filled it like after when
I got Friday and Saturday, and I think Lucy said she could do Saturday and Sunday. I know you said you could do Sunday at least.
Yep.
And I'm good up until about 3 o'clock on Saturday, so I could do the whole time on Friday if you wanted, and Saturday morning. I'm free. I don't mind staying like the whole day, because it's.
Right, so you're there.
There, might as well do it,
That was good to me.
you know.
Okay.
Do we have a spot? Do we know if we're outside or?
We're outside. We had.
Are we where, oh, yeah, that's great. Are we where all the booths are we where they have some farm equipment and trucks stuff? Do we have a place for that?
So here's the thing, I don't think we'll with all farm equipment, I hope not. Patty Keller with the truck, you know, so we got that set up. By the way, she, not here with you, she was had a grandbaby. So she's busy.
Okay, so we'll get our spot.
So they wrote, and they know that they're calling it antique. I don't think she called it antique, but it's really an old garbage. So like farm truck. Well, I mean that. They said, we picked out a prime spot for you. But it's on a little bit of an incline, and we want you to come see it before it just in case, like, so they're being very careful. So she said she would go, I have no idea, so, never mind.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's flat. We're the first part of this and there's always this, and then back where the science center is. Unless it's like the meeting next to the science center, you know. Science, like we're going tonight. Slowly plan there. Well, we'll have to see.
Well, to see, so she said she wanted, and I said, she should go see.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I'd like to go just to see where it is, so that I have a mental map. For when I get there to set up the first day, but, so now she's got the grandbaby, so it'll probably be next week. They said by the end of next week, they know. So hopefully she likes the spot. They said it's a prime spot. I don't know what that means. But it's outside. This I know.
Are we just educating, or is there something, are we selling things, or?
You
I
know,
don't mean Justin.
right, we are educating and we all are open to other ideas. What do we have to sell? Or people suggest giveaways. But I don't know that we can do that.
I thought about, I have so many extra seeds, I thought about some seeds, but I need little packets to put them in, but. I have to have an idea about that, but if you don't have them. I would just handwrite the names of the seeds.
And I don't know
on-
if there's a little
on-
envelope,
Yeah,
there's a little
Yeah.
envelope.
mhm. Think about that.
Yeah,
You don't have a bunch of seed envelopes, do you?
Right,
You do?
I did.
Like little ones?
You bet.
What, why?
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 Why do you question me? I'm like, you drove by my house, it's like a worker situation, I got everything. Yeah, I don't know how many, but. I have them for collecting seeds. I bring them, if I go for a little hike, and if I'm lucky, I also brought a pen. If I'm not, I'm like. That's
Fun.
right.
Oh, what you cook. Not that food. All right, so thank you for bringing that up, because we,
I'd be willing to donate some envelopes.
okay. Because we do need, we've got the virus,
Oh, wow, Ada?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I reserved the same virus that we had last time at the festival. Did you see that, Jeff? That's it.
Those little animals? Or the other,
The hill, the blue hill.
the water, okay.
They let the kids spray water away with the it's an molded plastic. It looks like something you would put on your train set, got a spot, and there are little things to put on it, little house, little cars and trucks, little house. Little factory building, et cetera, and then there's a spot that would be like. What would run out of the factory? What would get run down on people's driveways? What would come down from the farmer's field, or the cows do? And so we take various things you might have in the kitchen, like chocolate chimneys and salt, pepper, and cinnamon, and whatever, and you talk about it, and as you do it, or they do it, depending on the kid, and let them sprinkle it around, and then in a bigger pot, big spray. Out there. And there's a pond. Yeah. And there's a track. Where we can clean it out. And it was great success, right?
It was, well, the kids, it keeps the kids busy and then it gives us a chance to speak to parents. So that's the whole point. I'm not quite sure they get the different, the older kids do, I guess, different kind of dirt that's coming through the soil and so forth. But the little ones, it keeps them busy. Which is, can call the parent trap or something like that.
Yeah.
There you go. So, well, then they can re-educate.
I invited from my audience, I wasn't at the fall festival, but I was, worked one of these at the Grange Fair in the fall. And, amazed at how so many parents jumped in. I didn't even talk to the kids about all this stuff because they wanted to tell kids. They understood perfectly well. That might be because that's half an act thing. Farmers have become very sensitized to all this, but it was great.
I think about have that kind of population at that age, for sure.
And just still the same kind of population, yeah, yeah. So it was very encouraging.
Yeah. Good, I'm glad you got that.
Yeah. So we'll have that. And then we'll have I can take some lights out stuff. I found the papers. And we have brochures on rain garden and stuff like that. If I could drive up early to Emmetown and get 1 or 2 barrels, not the big pickup, can't do the big pickup that early. We're doing it the next week. But get a couple barrels, then, and this was Kathy Keller's idea. She said, just stand there and make a rainbow. Just take your drill, go ahead and do it right there. And people said, what are you doing? You know, and they'll get interested. And she said, raffle it off. She's a commercial kind of person, you know, she's got a little company, marketing. What do you got? Raffle it off. Okay. It's all business. Do it. Yeah. Raffle it off.
We actually went.
Did you?
We love to go to our best. Yeah. I think it was the Girls Town project. And we saw Mary. We won it. We never really gave me to do it, right? We might have put it on the start.
Yeah. Well, we haven't remembered it. I didn't, and got instructions.
Or they could come on May 3rd and watch.
Yeah, here's what we did.
Do we have, Alex, does the township have any of those tickets that you? Full bar tickets?
They might, I can find out.
Well, they must, cause at that like Christmas thing or fall festival, somebody, the woman that used to be here, she was working her raffle baskets and Sue Miguel was there.
Oh, Sue
Sue
probably has them then. I'm sure she does. So we can get you some for A Day.
Yeah, maybe.
And-
We're gonna need for A Day those plastic holders that we have the information on the lights out.
Like a display,
Yeah.
kind of like the plastic displays that are out there.
Right.
Okay.
right. There's a bunch of them. We borrowed them during the fall fest.
I will call the guy, that's been kind of putting it off.
Like 8.5 by 11.
And ask if I-
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
8.5 by 11.
But-
Yeah, it's like a 3-tiered clear display. Like, oh, okay.
But they only.
I'm sure Sue would know because I think Sue gave you them.
Michelle.
Shelves.
This can't hurt text, right? So this, the Easter Bunny Saturday morning thing, I'll try to get somebody, so you don't have to do it. Just a couple hours that day, Saturday, the 12th. Maybe, maybe Carol will do. So that's A Day. Anything else on A Day? Any other ideas?
The rack parts? Are they getting
Yes.
done?
Well, that darn grandbaby came along.
Oh.
But I think so. Yeah, I sent it to her. And I sent her the logo. And, so I'm sure she did. Yeah, so we'll have that.
Good.
We're not allowed to resell any of our bonus plants, are we?
That's in trouble.
Spitball.
Yeah. Yeah, keep thinking though, because if we can come up with something.
I have a bunch of Leatrice forms. I don't know if they would be ready if I potted them up, like. Over the next few days. If that would be far enough along. For sale then.
Yeah.
How big are they now?
I mean, they're. They're not planted yet. They're.
Oh, okay.
In purchased state essentially.
Oh.
In prior years, I've put them either in plug trays or just straight in the ground or, other pots. And they've gone nuts.
Hmm. Okay,
I'll do a test.
okay. We'll find out. Yeah, we have no more meetings before this. So we just have to keep in touch.
Good for you. A tray or two of them or not?
That's right.
Oh, I'm just happen to be gone that weekend. Yeah.
Okay. 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 All right, Rainbow Workshop preparations. I do need to call him and ask him what I just said, but it's been announced. Thank you for the fixing it up, picture in it, which I'm incapable of doing.
It's okay.
So it's on the website and are we set up like to make the sign up sheet go live on the 13th?
Yeah, just, do you have a sign up sheet that you want to use that I could upload, or do you want me to create one?
It would have to be linked to something. Right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible to have it on the front page of the website just for like that week? So when people open the website.
Yeah.
it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little worried. We're telling everybody it's live on the 13th. Then they go, the general webpage. and
Right.
Don't know.
Yeah, I can make it a news article that kind of hangs out on the front
Okay.
for that time.
Yeah. It's a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it would just be, I'll make it.
Okay.
You won't have any pictures.
It's okay.
You can put the picture.
It's coming. Yeah.
So Alex has produced the page and then went to
Now I just need content. You know?
the content.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking,
I'm sorry, later.
we can start. Yeah,
But one of the important things, to use on our pages, island lakes, we're gonna have to keep an eye on, them, make sure they don't change. Cause
Mhm.
that's probably one of the
that's.
pet peeves that I have on the websites, when people put hyperlinks and then they don't work any.
Yep. Yes, so we'll mention that, but otherwise very good VAC, and I saw this, it's gone, they're down now. But last year, it's very tempting list of links, all down to one side. Oh, good, dang, all dead. Yeah, it's an older EAC, they were alive when they posted them, so we need to be careful about that.
And you just have to watch them,
Mhm.
watch them and update them.
Yeah.
We'll be the watchers, we'll have to let Alex or.
Yep, send it over.
Update, when they get up.
Mhm.
Mhm. But once an EAC gets to be like 20 years old, we're gone. The next group comes in, next group's gone, and that's what.
That's the first thing you tell them, you're taking over, this is one of the things you have to do.
Mhm.
But we need to think of the things we need to like, we have announcements, we have events,
Mhm.
we have information for homeowners, and that's where some of these things. Think about that. We need your let's out. However you want it to be. Advice or information or announcement.
Maybe you can circulate that in a tree list at some point. I think.
We could post it, yes,
I mean, at least to market, but.
yeah. I'll be happy to send it out. I should have, send out tree lists.
Want to take a look?
Oh, yeah.
Input from all kinds of people, places, some plagiarize. No, freely given,
That's-
yeah. Okay. So, good. I'll send it like my kind of bare bones Word document.
Okay.
You can fix it up if you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Mhm.
excellent. I think I might put a waiting list under there.
Okay.
Just in case. And we need to know a few things. They need to give us phone numbers. That's what if they do it. Well, I need to ask people if they have a 2x3 or a 3x4 downspout. For the diverters, because it makes a big difference. And we can get the 3x4, which are the newer, bigger ones, but we need to order them. Kathleen Conley, Mass Watershed, will order them and she can get them in a few days. So those who have 3x4s, I need to know it, and I need to order them for that. Okay. Then, oh geez, we got to Barry Road. Okay, so there's a new development being planned.
Can I have this copy? If I
Sure.
I have on computer.
Okay. On just 4 houses on Barry Road in a farm field.
That's
Yeah.
the corner there.
So that
It's not far from where Galena does the dog leg,
I think it is.
you know? So this is the first time, this is a preliminary plan came to the township. Normally, when a plan comes to the township and is received by the planning commission, that starts a 90-day clock. I think because we had to hire a new zoning officer, things were not the usual here, and they got that waived. The township got it waived on their behalf by the developer, as I understand it. It's very important, when the township gets it, any plan, and it's received, they have 90 days to give approval with conditions or denial. And if they do not answer, it is deemed approved. Done. Bad. A township never wants that to happen. So no matter what's in there, could be the worst thing in the world. If it's deemed approved, that's just too bad. You didn't do your job. So we can talk in general terms about this today and can answer, try to answer any questions anybody has. And then go back home and think about it. And we should each write up any recommendations that we have. And at the May meeting, we have to get that formalized and decide on what our recommendations are. We send those, Dan will send that to either the board or the engineer,
Mhm.
and then everything gets put in front of the board for their May meeting, probably.
You mean the planning commission, isn't it?
No, the planning commission has it already. They have it like we do.
It's, they came to the board to get this released.
Well, that was just a preliminary,
Right.
informal.
But doesn't the planning commission need to do their, do that to this board with those two?
Well, they will.
What is, do you know what this is on the planning? It's-
They just heard it.
They just heard.
So they'll send their recommendations. They'll send ours.
Mhm.
I asked if we could send them after our May meeting. Because I thought it would be a terrible rush for us, to get it, the first one.
Yeah.
To try to get it done at this meeting. Yeah. So first of all, does anybody have any questions? About all these new pictures and what everything means? I can try to answer. I took a little planning course when I first got this position for me.
Alex, I have a question for you. You just, are you doing this for longer than Jansen here?
Only by like 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was hired in January. He was hired in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Been through some of these?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, no one else. Nothing. So I was questioning Kathleen and everybody, where there's a riparian buffer, like you can see,
Mhm.
I don't know what page I'm on, 11 maybe, there's why is there a riparian buffer on some in pages and not on others? And so I looked on Google Maps and apparently there's a spring, it's listed as a spring there, but
And it's listed as a swale. It's definitely required that the carrying buffer, because it's already in there.
okay, that's in history. And
It's existing. And it's taken into consideration on the allowable acreage. So either they misspoke when they said that
there's no
there's
riparian
no
buffer.
existing or plan that is not required. But you can see on the CO3, if you look at the bottom of the bottom right of each page, there's a number of each one.
There's no riparian buffer.
There's only one way to act.
Yes. That's it. And the land boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So part of that Willow Street is already in existence. But they are. That riparian buffer is subtracted from the available acreage for the developer. So I think they either misspoke or they were so focused on the requirements for what they had to do. But there is definitely a riparian buffer there, and they're not allowed to touch.
All right, so they're not putting that in.
No, it's already there.
The scallop line is this tree line that they will put up some kind of barrier. and-
No, they're already there. It's already there.
Okay, not. And is that not part of any property then, as they're planning it out?
So these, the trees you can really see on Google. That they could grow here, they want to take them out. I'm gonna shoot that. There, some of these are huge trees.
Yeah, I don't see any reciprocal, if they take a tree out, if they put some trees in, is that?
What do you mean by quickly?
That,
Do you mean by point system?
yeah,
it doesn't show here, but there's a little tree on here. One of the pages says it would. You know, Lucy, the rules are that developers are allowed to take a certain percentage, unquestioned. And after that percentage, then they have to start looking up for what they take out. But they use such the trees, so they can literally take this about everything out. And, not get to the percentage stuff. Well, they can take 20%. But they're leaving trees around the edges. Let me get to the right one of these. Look at this scale. But those I believe are already there. Oh, here we are. We're in C4. Right. All the way down toward the right area number. The stage that yeah. That's the mark it is, as I understood. And there's what's on the other side too, far right. And then there's a gas line coming through, which is an automatic piece. That's for the gas company. And their care plant will be there.
And we wonder about this storm. Basically, the second which is things kind of different factor of the
I know. I did start to throw ordinances and could find a single reference to storm tax or stormwater tax. There is one reference in the definitions of stormwater practices, for taking care of the problem of stormwater. And in a list of things, it mentions underground infiltration systems. That's the closest I could see to this. And there's no specs. And unless it's coming under another name. But I did a lot of looking into these darn stone tanks, to reading this stuff. And it's unusual when you have this much space to do something like a very invasive thing, like they're huge. You see the size of them, they're like, here's what we do. Fires. They dig up the ground and put in these big plastic with gravel, as tanks. Usually, you do something with green, this isn't green, right?
And are there zoning requirements that address that?
I'm going to keep studying this week.
Yeah.
There is definitely a stormwater best management practices sheet that says that unless there is some reason not to do it, low impact development should be used for stormwater, meaning rather than digging and putting in pipes and all this other kind of stuff, you use basins and rain gardens and trees and stuff like that. You use green infrastructure instead of rain. I didn't bring my computer, but I can send you the link to that page. It's one of the appendices.
But I guess what matters is what Newburgh Township zoning codes are.
It's never going to be cut and dry. So it is strongly recommended, and if you don't have a good reason not to do the low impact method, you should, not shall, you should use the low impact method. But it should not shall, right? We're not going to get that kind of cut and dry, it's legal or it's not. It is a legal method. It is a BFE, it's a best management practice, which doesn't mean it's best. It just means in an array of things that you can do to take care of stormwater, it's one of the accepted practices. It's very generally used. If you go to a description of, I looked up the company that made these, Brentwood. And one of the first things that they say is that these things are generally used in tight spaces. Like if you have a house with a tiny yard, or you've got a backyard, right? Or something, and you just have no vertical space. Then you can dig up the ground, put these things in, pipe them over to the houses. The downspout is tied into these things. And put the grass back on top. You can't plant on the lines, right? Right, it's kind of like
So the canopy,
yeah. I think it's a little bit like that. The one thing that really bothers me, this almost makes it seem like it's fake. If you go to C5.1, look at the maintenance. And I go back and find this spot, roll to the pencil and put them by your pad, I don't mark it with anything. But somewhere it says the homeowner has the responsibility to maintain my stuff. Yeah. If you read the maintenance. I got the pencil. I opened that, but I was still on there.
how does that work?
Where do I read this to? You're gonna drop. You've got enough trouble just cleaning your gutters, right?
So.
Why is it it's right here? Right.
It's very, it's hot.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds
Sounds
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's
Right.
Yeah.
And then you look at the maintenance. Inspect the subsurface. Now, these things are big, they're like 50 feet. The subsurface at least, I couldn't compromise this, at least 4 times a year, as well as after every storm exceeding 0.8 of an inch, 8/10 of an inch. Ensure that runoff drains down into the lowest outfall elevation. Drain. I wish I could find this, at least 2 times per year, inspect accumulation of sediment for debris, dispose of sediment, debris, etc. They have to flush it out, pump it out several times a year.
In compliance with the. So because. Like, as if they're gonna know what they're doing. I think.
It's supposed to percolate,
No,
down.
so what they do is they're detention basins. They're artificial, big plastic grids that have gravel in them. It slows the rain and holds it, and it slows the stormwater coming and holds it there for a bit. And like a real detention basin, within 72 hours, it should drain out. And slowly allow then that stormwater, rather than have it rush as in a storm, sheet flood, to have it slowly drain down to the swell, which is going to go to the creek, and the farmers around here get flooded. Not at this spot, but on the other side of the front.
I have to look at the mechanics of it, but where's it drained out of? Just out of the pipe?
Yes, the pictures are there. You would have to look more at it with the, out of the pipe. And then on the other side of them, on the outflow side of this, so that they don't want the pipe being such a single point. So there's a level spreader, which also has to be maintained, which is another pipe that is perforated around it. And so it comes out, and then the idea is that it will go into this level spreader, which will capture it and spread it out. It's very.
Is the idea to make the appearance more yard space as opposed to, because topical catch would be easier for everyone, I think. There's
And-
no, you know,
Exactly.
maintenance of it, it's cheaper, easier to dig and
You would think.
install, right?
And there's a big Conservation is confined each of these houses. It's
That's what I mean, so if you get a basin, easement, like,
You put the base in it. You put two.
You're not gonna put anything on the rest, so we can guess.
Still playing the streets for race. But how's it getting really good?
But the gas people are not gonna allow them to have. Perpendicular gas. This is, no, I thought you were talking about as a church. Going this direction, here and over here.
No, we were just saying, instead of these storm tents.
I don't think the elevation allows it. If I recall correctly, I believe the elevation goes from right to left.
It does. I think it goes a little bit to the left too, though, doesn't it?
Subsurface.
Mike,
No, you're right.
when you hit the mic, you have something, makes it sound.
Although. Here we go. Here, it clearly is going down here,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So you could have a basin here. And a basin here.
but what I'm saying is that I think it's not gonna drain this is like a high point. I think it goes down
Yeah.
and down that. So whatever is draining in that direction is gonna go to that base. I think the gas line is side on that. When I was trying to read it the other day, it was that. So there's a black similar one here, the elevation was on another page.
Yeah, so another page. I was trying to use it, that makes.
Do that to the trees that aren't like in the backyard and the house number lot one. Like they're in that corner there, they're ready to cut them all down, but they really need some.
Yeah.
Right, because they're not. That would be.
Great, let me see if I can find the page with the trees up.
What I would suggest, since they reviewed this at the planning commission last week,
one has three.
they may have already answered some of these questions that we have. Because I assume they were here presenting to the planning commission.
Correct.
Oh, you did them?
We could look at the
Okay.
video meeting that.
Yeah.
We need to do a little more coordinating.
Mhm.
Yeah, the next time,
Mhm.
So
not us.
rather than
Yeah,
get
yeah.
into this for the next half hour, I'm suggesting would be that we all listen to the planning commission presentation of this. They had several things on their agenda.
Does the planning commission present at the board of supervisors?
No, the developer was at the meeting. And it's on the YouTube video, so you can watch the YouTube video to listen.
And see if they answered some of these questions already that you have.
I didn't know they present.
Now this the, there's, I do know.
Exactly.
They have, and they do.
But they're the little tiny ones. They're, no, they're actually, they wrote down.
I got taken, the other one.
It's the ones.
Yeah, these are just the same years.
Oh,
This is, yeah.
But- See where they're real faint here?
Yeah.
That means they want to take it out.
Yeah.
But so that tree could, that tree could stay, this tree could stay. This tree could stay, the house could just move over a tiny bit. So,
You know what trees you're looking at, and I highlighted the trees that are coming out, and you can see why they're coming out, because the houses are far too close.
well, see, but I don't see that. I'm on the same page you. I don't think it's was.
They're, well, maybe that one, maybe. They've also marked some of them as being dead,
Only the tiny ones, see.
the ones with the little lines.
So if you look at the big trees, the big trees are 50 inches. Are not dead. Some of these big trees could stay.
So we need to question why they're coming out and what they're doing to replace. If they're gonna come out, you know, like they've got a whole bunch of trees here. But,
They are not allowed to count as replacement trees.
okay, so, you know, there's several things. The stormwater management, the trees that they plan to remove, the tree replacement, these are all things that we need to discuss in May. But we're kind of behind the 8 ball right now because we had an opportunity to go talk to them last week, but we weren't able to.
Well,
Or
we didn't
we
even
didn't
know. We didn't
They
know.
were on the agenda, so let's look at the video.
Yeah, so everybody will look at the planning.
Because
commission.
maybe they've answered some of our questions already. I don't know, the planning board may have had the same questions we did. I would hope that they did, at least for the stormwater management.
Yeah,
Just
Okay.
speculating.
I'm glad I know now that they presented planning commission. Well, next
In
time,
fairness, the bike schedule is pretty solid on the C6 there.
yeah, it is. But that's an easy one.
And by the way, for those of you that actually would maybe want to zoom in on this, it is on the website as part of the meeting packet for the planning commission meeting that was last week. Did you know that? No, I just looked it up. Okay.
Better late than never.
Just looked it up.
They're not used to having an EAC yet.
Yeah,
I would think-
There were other things on the agenda. I'm wondering if we should have been given plans to look at too. There's something at 140 Upper Church Road, preliminary final minor residential subdivision in planning module. I haven't even looked at the meeting. That's it. We don't need to worry about lot line changes. There's something from the DCED Greenway Trails Grant, Pine Run Trail Replacement Support Letter discussion.
I think the reason this is our first one is it's the first brand new thing that has come in. So that's my understanding. Like that other one has been going, it started before we came online. And now it's another iteration of it.
Church Road.
Yeah. So this is, at least it's small. Yeah, for a first one, yeah, good starter development. But those stormwater things, those tanks seem not right.
I just wonder why not a topical basin, it seems like it would be for an easier, and there's little to no practical maintenance from a mechanical standpoint. So I would think that would be a winning plan. Rather than
Maybe we'll find
excavating
out.
a very much tanks and, you know, bunch of like it.
The thing with that stormwater is, my understanding of this development, what little I do know about it, is that it's gonna have an HOA, so maybe it's the HOA that will actually be responsible for plowing around. That is my. Adam joined the supervisor when they first presented.
They will have an HOA because that road is private.
So the HOA is going to be in charge. That doesn't make the stormwater things any better because HOA is going to keep up with their.
Well, it may have some accountability, I think, if one owner out of the four is doing what they're supposed to do and it's flooding onto their neighbor, then the HOA would
Mhm.
get involved, I would imagine. So,
Right. It would be a little bit better.
yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that. Does anybody have any more questions or observations for this before we say we'll come back next time and try to put our recommendations together?
Sounds good.
So let's watch the video.
Watch the video.
Watch the video. Good
Okay.
video. Yep.
So other business, I just wanted to point out, before we go out of here. As I was starting to type these meeting minutes, I realized that I did not overwrite Alex's name in the March minutes with Dan's name, so I did that on the here. And she went and printed it and got corrected, and that's the only thing I changed was.
Okay.
What's it, Fox?
Is this one is on?
That's the correct.
Anybody, any input from the public out there?
About the site there,
Anything? About this or?
I'm just interpreting the site, you know, I mean, if there's a riparian buffer, right, that's kind of a wet.
Well, it's already there. They're just not allowed to take it away.
Yeah. It's almost like there's a system in place, you just want to run water away from the house. You know, let the rest do its thing, it's already all graded to go there. I don't know.
Except the trees are there, very large trees, 50-inch diameter. And they want to take them out. And so that'll make ourselves to trees. They're leaving a little wood, which is a little strip.
Yeah.
Beyond the buffer. But then, you can climb a little bit, right, out to the end of that conservation. There's a row of trees, 3 or 4 of which are 48 feet each. You take them out, things change, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm kind of interpreting more, but I'm just a little perplexed by the concept, it doesn't make total sense to me. And to your point, I think putting the maintenance onus on homeowners, which makes sense because it's their property, if it doesn't make sense, because they're not gonna have probably any expertise. You know, that, you know.
Right. And homeowner associations are accountable, especially if somebody starts complaining. But there are lots of examples all over, not just here, but everywhere, where, especially after years, if they're decades out. Things go wrong. And if these aren't maintained, it says that there is no stormwater system at all.
Yeah. Go topical solutions. Obvious.
I look forward to what was in that team too, but yeah, they have to address it, they have to, but. For sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
but we'll find out.
yeah, we will. That'll be very helpful.
And if not, then we'll ask them those questions.
Well, we won't have a chance to ask them.
No, but we can do them to the board of supervisors.
Any other comments, anybody? Okay, so be ready enough that we can actually get down in the minutes and minutes what we want our obligations today. All right. I have a motion to adjourn. Okay. All in favor? All right. I'm ready to 7:50.